Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Всем привет, с вами как всегда Игра, и мы продолжаем проходить Зов Ктулху. Мы проснулись в особняке Хокинсов. О, вон там баба. Надеюсь, она ничего не скажет. А у меня зарядился телефон. Подождите, сейчас уберу. Где эта зарядка крёваная? Так, вот так вот. Погнали. Как ты жив оказался? Я хочу это узнать. Ну-ка нахрен.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
А, значит, ночь только спал.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
Ну, ты, кстати, мертв, да. Ну-ка давай.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have
Ты
you.
давай не лезь.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
Seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Значит, что-то с ним сделали. Блин. Не могу сказать.
I heard you talking earlier.
Why am I not surprised?
I get the impression you two don't get along.
Intrusive and not very clever. Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
Ой, подожди.
Bradley,
Ну-ка.
what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
Ясно? Кому-то промыли
I went
память.
to visit you at the hospital and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel.
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
Эх, ясно.
I heard you talking earlier.
Why am I not
Так, это я уже слушал.
Anyway,
Так, ну-ка давай с ней поговорим.
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
Походу кому-то пипец. Ну-ка.
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes, I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly
Заткнись
respected.
нахрен.
It's the truth, Ethan, and I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
Ты вообще мертв.
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Заткнись.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Хрен знает, я не успел.
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller and a nurse. Blood everywhere. My legs, the pain, I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the Institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
Ох, один раз я был тоже под наркозом.
When I woke
Ух,
up the second
что ты
time,
только
I
не
was in a
говоришь.
padded cell.
Ну нахрен.
That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute.
Иди вообще арестуй или убей того доктора.
An infernal machine, horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
Иди нахрен.
You
Все,
should
ты
believe
для меня
me.
больше не
What Mr. Pierce saw is
существуешь.
precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
Короче, он как-то летал,
Sure, I
и
can
все.
explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
Ну, короче, его что-то подняло вверх, и он нахрен летал. Во, бродяга. Кризис. Какой кризис?
I didn't
Бродяга.
see what, but something was there with us.
Of what do you
Во, его
speak?
силой мысли
Sanders
убили.
said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor.
И по-любому это Сара
Described it
Хокинс
like
его убила.
a living being.
Sarah
Наверное.
Hawkins.
Но я думаю, что она.
Have I missed something here? This makes no sense.
Иди,
I
ты
don't see how
вообще
it can help crack the
для меня
Hawkins
больше не
case.
существуешь.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
Я говорю, это она его
You
убила.
know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art
Заткнись
collector.
нахрен.
I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say?
Погнали.
That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
Давай.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness than ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Так,
Let us
еще.
go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Да. Угу. Уйти нахрен. Оу. Глава 6. Резиденция Сандерса. Ну, посмотрим, что нам скажет этот Сандерс. Сандерс.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may.
Мне бы на самом деле пушку.
However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
О, это,
Well,
который много
look
бухает.
who's here. You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker.
Я хотел тебе сказать, если я
This
детектив,
way, Mr. Pierce.
то я должен сувать свой
And to
нос
make
куда
yourself
захочу и
comfortable.
куда хочу.
It would seem that you have much to tell
Поняла
me.
ты, тварь? Я должен это делать. Всякую в дырку влезть, чтобы найти улики
May I
нахрен.
inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
А что мне это сказать? Вы не должны считать себя виноватой. Или он это в муках кричал? Что мне тебе сказать? Давай вот это вот. Давай.
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in
На
that
какую еще
hospital
судьбу?
would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
Я...
So ask Fuller, he's the eminent doctor. But I would caution you, you'll find his treatments more terrifying than the illnesses he sets out to cure.
That churl no longer takes the trouble to receive me.
Опять повлиял на
He
судьбу.
sends his secretary to tell me that I cannot see Francis. Me. His own widow. He must think that I am a terrible wife for having abandoned him in such a way. But I only wanted what was best for him.
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs. Sanders.
Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Я много еще хочу. Ну-ка.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit. Because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Ну, это как сказать. Мы начнем обследовать дом в следующей серии. Так что. Вот ты. Ты. Я же вижу, что ты там сидишь и смотришь. И кушаешь. Подпишись на канал, поставь лайк. И приятного аппетита. Всем удачи. Всем пока.